Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. So let us revisit what are the string functions we have actually covered in the previous two sessions, and then we can actually proceed with the new topic. Uh, so these are the string functions. This is not limited. There are around 60 functions, 50 to 60 string functions available in Python 3.x. I don't know the exact count. I'm just assuming it is around 50 functions are there, or 50 methods are there. So the first one, I'm just summarizing it quickly in 2 minutes. I'm just going to cover all these things. So the alien method is actually going to return the length of the string. Capitalize is actually going to capitalize the first letter as capital, and the remaining letters are actually in the small case or characters in the small case. Title case, the first character of each word will be actually capital case. The remaining characters will be a small case. And then upper is going to return a copy of the string in the uppercase character, and lower is going to return the copy of the string in lowercase characters. And count is going to give you the specific count. Let's say in a string you are actually searching for India. If India is present 5 times, you can actually get the count 5. Similarly, find, you can actually find for a specific pattern or specific match criteria. It could be a character, could be a substring, could be the entire string you can actually search for, and using find you can actually get the index. And then index function, you can actually do the same thing. The difference between find and index is find returns -1 if there is no match. Index is actually going to throw error. And when we need this, when we want to actually do some business operations or some specific statements you want to actually execute, you can definitely use the exception handling method. And in that case, you can actually use index. And then all the each functions, it is basically going to check the type. It's Alnam is actually going to check if the string is alphanumeric. Let's say, for example, if I'm giving my string is hello, and if I do is alphanumeric, it is going to return as true, because it contains alphabet. And in this case, in case of alnum, it can be alphabet, it can be numbers, it can be both, like an alphabet and number. If it is containing alphabets, numbers, and some special characters, then the boolean value is going to be false. Similarly, is lower, it is going to return true if the entire string we do have only characters or characters and spaces. And if all the characters are actually in lowercase, then in that case it is going to return true. And if all the characters are actually lowercase and contains space, also it is going to return true. Similarly, each upper is actually going to return true if all the characters are actually in uppercase. If space is going to return if the string itself contains only spaces. And we have gone through the example in the previous sessions. And each alpha is going to return true if all the characters are actual alphabets. Doesn't matter in which case. It could be small case alphabets or it could be capital case alphabets. Each title, it will check if in a string we are having 3 words and the 3 words are actually starting with a capital case alphabet, and remaining letters or characters are actually in small case. Use title is going to return true, otherwise it is going to return false. Use digit is going to return true if the string contains only digits, otherwise it is going to return as false. And then split and partition, these are the functions what we have actually covered so far. I'm just going to tell you few more methods, that is split and partition. Then followed by we'll be dealing with the preceding zeros. Okay, we can actually remove, sorry, preceding characters basically, not zeros. Like let's say, for example, you have a string hello India, and we do have spaces before the string and after the string. How do we remove it? I'm just going to tell you strip functions. In the strip we do have strip, part strip, l strip. These are the three functions. And then I'm just going to tell you if it is some other character, not space. Let's say customer ID starts with zeros, you want to actually take out all the zeros. or even to strip all the zeros. Okay, so preceding zeros or succeeding zeros, you can actually do that using the strip functions. So let us go ahead, get started with the string methods, and let me open my PyCharm. Okay, here we go, and let me write the first program. The first one I'm just going to talk about is string split. Split is a powerful function. Okay, let me write a message here. Message equals to hello world, hello world. Then world is open source. Okay, so now this is my string. Now what I want to actually check is um, what is my requirement is I want to split this entire string into words. How do I split it? That means hello should be one word, then world, then dot is there, then world is there, then is open and source. I want to iterate it. Then how do I do it? First of all, to iterate, we need a sequence. Okay, and then in this case, we are not talking about like iterating the characters. We are actually talking about like iterating the words present in this particular variable, like the message, that is hello world followed by world is open source. If I want to actually print, let's say for example, if I'm printing message, it is actually going to print as is. Let's say for example, here you can see hello world, world is open source. Now if I want to do like split, I can directly give print message dot split. Okay, so if I'm giving like split without anything, let us say like how it is actually going to split. Okay, so now in this case I'm not specifying anything, and I've not specified it's a dot or it's a space or it's a tab or it's abcd. I'm not specifying anything. I'm just telling the system like go ahead and split it. Now in this case what we are going to get is we are going to get the word in like splitted words basically. So now from the string you can see hello is the first element here, and then world you can see it is the second element, then dot is the third element here, then similarly this world is actually the fourth element, and then is the fifth, and then sixth and seventh elements. So now do I know like how many elements are actually here? Okay, so now what I can do here is I can definitely call length function. Let's say here I can directly specify length of message dot split, then give me the length over here. Now here you can see like how many words are actually present here. It's saying like 7 words. Now my requirement is let me take it out. Okay, we can actually do this. Okay, to get the length, this is for your information only. We can actually use a number of methods as well. Okay, so now what is my requirement is I want to actually iterate each word. I want to iterate each word. So what I can do here is I can definitely do like now first, let's say item in message.split, right? I can specify here print then item. Okay, that's it. Now let us see what it is going to do. You can actually try it out like directly print message.split. It is actually going to give us a list where we are directly giving item in message.split. The simplified version could be like you can assign this one to a list, that is, let's say for example my list equal to message.split, then for item in my list print item. You can do this, or else directly call message dot split and then iterate through. And once we are actually iterating, we can definitely see here, right, the items over here, like hello, then world, then dot, then world is open and source. Now in this program here you can see the output here. Okay, the first one is actually the output of the print statement, and then the second one is actually output of the for loop, and we are splitting and iterating. So this is actually real time. Let's say for example you are actually having a configuration file. Okay, let me give you another example. I'm just giving another example here, Python new Python file, and then I'm just giving string split config. Okay, now this is my configuration file. I have this one here. I'm just giving let's say server1 colon user1 colon sample passphrase. Then I'm just giving dir is slash home slash Subbu and slash home slash Subbu. Let's say I want to have another configuration like the notes. This is just a sample, or you can actually give a file name. It's a sample.txt. Okay, so I have like not this kind of configuration. In this case, it's not a space. Now, how do I split it? That is another thing. Like now, how do I split it? Let me take out this one, and here I can say message.split. My splitting character is actually colon. So now here, if I do, let's say for example, server is here, then user, then sample, then you can see home dir, and then you can see the file. Let's say you want something like this. Let's say for example, you want that this is the first element, second element, third element, and the fourth element is the home dir. So how do you print the home dir without using a loop? That is like message dot split, and then you can define like let's say this is a split is done. Then we can define split this character, and we should actually quote it using single quotes or double quotes. So now the index always starts with 0, 0, 1, 2, and 3. If I give 3, it is actually going to give me the output as home slash Subbu. Okay, so now let us see. If I'm executing this, it is going to give me home slash Subbu. If your requirement is like you want everything from this configuration entry, basically what you can do is item in message.split print item. This is using the for loop. Now if I'm executing this program, here you can see the entire output is actually splitted. So now ideally you'll be like not reading from string. In real time example, what we need to do is we need to read the configuration from the config file. So during the file management, another 2 or 3 lines of code you need to write. You need to actually, if it is a CSV file or any other file, then code will be like 4 to 5 lines maximum. If it is just some simple file, .txt file or .cfg file, and you want to actually read it like raw text, basically the content is raw text. You can actually read the file content using 2 lines of code. That's it. And then you need to actually split it and get the required data. Let's say the configuration file, it could be database configuration file, it could be something related to cloud. Let's say your application data is written to S3 buckets, and you have that S3 bucket ARN details over here. You can actually definitely use that. And let's say for example, you are actually working on a project where you do have multiple VMs, and to sign into the VMs you do have multiple passages, for example. Okay, key and for example the key and then the passphrase. In that case, what you can do is you can definitely read it through the configuration. But when the question is coming into splitting the content into multiple parts, then definitely the solution here is actually split. Okay, so now this is how you can actually split it. Let's say to understand it better, let's say I can actually put together the information like this. Let's say split, I want the username and the passphrase, basically. So now how I can actually get the username? That is actually the value 2. This is my username. Here I can specify username is this. Okay, and then I can definitely there's something going wrong here. We're missing a comma here, right? And then if I want the passphrase, I can definitely specify, and the passphrase passphrase is message.split, and then the passphrase is actually here it is. Sorry, here username is actually 101, and then the sample passphrase is 2. So it should be 1 and 2, not 2 and 3. Okay. So now Control Shift F10 to execute the program in PyCharm. Here you can see username is user1 and passphrase is sample passphrase. Okay. So this is one of the example of split. There could be situation, let's say for example, is it like only one character? The answer is no. Let me try this out. Let's say message equals to hello Subbu, how are you doing? Okay, I am learning Python. Okay, so now here you see like now I have a string like this. It has like now multiple lines and separators are actually it is looks like it is one line. Ideally it is one line because we do not have a slash n, but we do have separate sentences because the separator here we are actually using like now sentence separator. So now if I do like now print, for example, I'm just doing like this print. Here I'm just giving message dot split and then I'm just giving dot. Here you can see instead of words it is actually going to separate the sentences because the separator here is dot. Now if I'm running this program, here you can see it is actually printing hello Subbu is the first item, then how are you doing is the second item, then I am learning Python is third item. Now, if I'm giving like no print split message dot split message dot split, and here my requirement is to split based on how. Now I can specify here how, and let us say like what is the output here. Okay, now here you can see hello Subbu, then how are you doing? It was like now how are you doing? And I am learning Python. We do have like only how. So what is going to happen? Hello till this point is actually one string, and from like now the character space till Python, this is actually another string. So now here you can see substring basically. So this is actually part 2 and this is part 1. So you can use any characters. Let's say I have seen configuration files where people are actually using like now configuration conf equals to something like this. Let's say server one triple colon user one triple colon slash home slash my data slash sample.txt. And if you want like my data sample.txt, for example, look at here guys, i have I have the configuration file like this. My requirement is I want sample.txt. There are better ways to do it. I'm just telling like now how to do this one like differently. So now here I can specify print conf, that is configuration dot split convert split. Okay, convert split of what? I'm just telling okay split it using colon triple colon. Okay, now here what I can do, once it is splitted, I'm just again calling like whether we can actually split it. We cannot actually split it. What we can actually get it here is we are going to get it as a string. Like let's say for example if I'm giving this one this value, and the value will be 0 1 and 2, and if I'm giving this, now here you can see it is giving like home my data and sample.txt. Then I can also call like split over here. There are better ways to do it. I'm just like now making you familiar with split. So let us split it again. Now split of this, and then I'm just telling like once your splitting is done, it is again 0 1 and 2. So I can give this one, it is going to give me the output as sample.txt. Now here you can see that is 0. Okay, it is a space here, so it should be 3. Why it is like because this is null followed by a separator, this is 1, so this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So if you give 3 here, you can actually get the data like sample.txt. Or simply what we can actually do is we can see anyway I'm just looking for the last value and the separator is actually colon. So instead of doing all these things, we can simplify it using split this one, and then we can say like -1, give me the last value. So now here you can see that like sample.txt. So this is up to you guys. So whenever you are actually dealing with configuration files and you want like a certain section of the data, split is the key. I can give you 100 examples, built-in examples, but it will be again the repetition of the concepts. So if you understand the concept, then the next thing is like writing a business logic will take some time. If you're new to Python, it is going to take some time. So practice is the key. So this is how the split function is actually working. Let me document it somewhere. Session.py is a temporary file. So now new Python file str, then split operation Python file. Here we go. And that's all about like the split. Now the next function I'm just going to tell you is that is known as partition. Partition is an interesting function. Let me tell you like how partition works. Now str, that string function partition. Now let's say I have the data. Hello Subbu, how are you doing and all. Okay. Now I want to partition. Now I'm just giving like no print here. I can specify message dot. I can specify here partition, and partition of what? Partition based on certain key. I can specify the key here, like the value, like using which we are going to partition it. Let's say I'm just telling like partition based on how. Okay, so partition based on how. If I'm giving based on partition based on how, let us say like what it is going to do. Now I'm just running this program. Here you can see partition always split returns a list, partition returns a tuple, and partition it is actually going to return. Just look at here. It returns only three parts: before the match, after the match, and the exact match. Now, for example, here how many times how is present here? It is one time. If you can ask me your like I'm just giving like now how are you again? How are you again? Now look at here. This is how is present two times. But whenever you are actually using partition, it is going to give only three parts. As soon as the how is detected, like in this case our match is how, so how is detected. Now this is actually partition 1, this one is partition 2, then the remaining part is actually partition 3. If I'm running this, let's say F10 here, you can see it here like this is partition 1, partition 2 and partition 3. Now if I'm giving something like this, let's say message 1 equals to hello, hi, hello, hi, hi, Subbu. Okay, so let's say this is my message 1. If I do print of message 1 dot partition of, let's say for example I'm just giving hi here. If I'm giving hi here, it is also going to give me only three parts: first part, second part, and then the third part. Okay, so now if I'm running this program, you can see it here. This is how it is giving us the partition. Let's say we are having three dots here, like sorry, two dots here. Now if I'm going to use partition using dot, like in a single character, it is also going to give us only three parts, even if there are actually multiple dots are actually here. In this case, what it is going to do is it is going to partition based on dot. So my first part will be like Subbu, second part will be only dot, then the third part will be the remaining values. If I execute this program, here you can see this is how you can actually use the partition. The difference here you can see this is the last part. If you want to understand this, let's say for example I want to use the first part or second part, like you are partitioning it and you are actually checking, give me the first part, and then your requirement is give me the last part, that is 0, 1 and 2, or else definitely you can actually use a -1, which is nothing but the last part. Now let us see it here. Okay, I did a partition, and after partition I'm just checking like now what is my first part, what is my second part, and what is my last part. Okay, so if you want to actually print the first part, I mean the partition, like the first element 0 and 1, the index 1 value, you can actually do this way. Now execute the program. Here you can see it is actually hello Subbu, then dot, then how are you doing? That was the third element. Now hello Subbu is first part because we have given like no 0 here. Then we have given 1 here, that is nothing but dot. Then we have given 2, that is nothing but the last part, or the third element in the tuple. Then -1 is also going to refer to the last element in the tuple, so the output is same here. Remember guys, the basic difference between partition versus split: partition returns a tuple, and partition always have only 3 parts, and split returns a list, and split returns, like let's say for example my split criteria is actually dot, so it will split based on dots. Let's say there are actually 3 dots, then we are going to get 4 elements. There are 10 dots, we are going to get 11 elements, so that is 10 plus 1. So now this is how you are actually going to deal with the partition versus splitting. Now let me move to the next topic, that is like now strip. So the strip function is another interesting function or method in string. Basically, in the section of string, we can actually use string strip strip. Let's say I do have a message in this format. Let's say we do have data where we have space, multiple spaces, hello, multiple spaces, then world, multiple spaces. Now my requirement is I want to strip all the spaces. Now I can, let's say for better readability, let me print like all the data in bracket basically. Now I'm just giving like my message, and I'm just giving here, right? So now you can see it here just to identify the spaces basically. You can see like there are spaces here and there are spaces here, right? Before and after. Now, whenever I want to actually do the print, okay, using strip message dot strip, okay. Now I'm just not giving like no anything. I'm just giving like no just strip it. Let us see like no what will be the output. What it is going to do, it is going to remove the starting spaces, I mean the preceding spaces, and the spaces at the end of the string. So now if I'm running this program, here you can see it is actually removing all the spaces. Now you can say there is another space here because it is because of a separator. Default separator is actually space. Default separator is space. If you want to specify, don't give any separator. I can specify like this. And if I'm running this program, here you can see there is no space. The extra space was actually coming because of the separator. Now, let's say I want to remove the spaces from the beginning only, from the left side of the string. You can definitely give else strip. Now run the program. Here you can see like the spaces at the left side of the string has been removed. So similarly, you can actually do R strip. What it is going to do, it is going to remove the spaces after the string. Okay, let's say for example after the characters or alphanumerics whatever we are having, right, it is going to remove that. Now control shift F10, here you can see like it is removing the spaces at the end. What if we do have like the separator, sorry, this instead of spaces we don't have like no spaces. Let's say someone is actually written a Java program, written output like like this, hello. I've seen like developers using like this, okay, and I do have separators like this as well, okay, like I do have plus over here, hello world, okay. Now here message or message one I can give, and I'm just going to use the same thing as is. Now what is going to happen if I'm running this program as is? Now look at here. It is actually going to strip, like here you go, like you can specify. I have not specified anything, but while running the program is actually going to take care of this one. Now if you are having combinations, you can tell me, like, okay, I want to specify the separators. How do I specify it? You can definitely specify explicitly. We can specify like no plus here, plus here. This is also supported. Okay, so if you are giving like no strip it, it is going to strip it. Okay, no, we did a mistake. It is not working as expected because it should not ideally work. We have actually used the wrong variable name, so that's the reason I got this one. Okay, so now here we go. Now in this case, I did not realize it actually earlier. So now here you can see while running this program, here you can see it is actually printing hello world. Again, I'm just missing somewhere. No, message one. Now here you can see message one. We are printing hello world. It is printing. Then we do have like the separator as actually nothing, and we're trying to strip it. It is actually not working as expected. Why? Because we need to tell the system, hey, my splitting character, sorry, my character is different, it is not space. You should actually remove the plus sign, whatever is there before the uh, string and after the string. Now here you can see, if I'm giving this, here you can see the first one. In this case, this is the separator basically. Okay, so now here separator is null, and we are trying to remove the spaces and stripping from both the sides, both left and right side. It is actually splitting it. If you want to actually strip it from the left, you can use L strip followed by the character, then R strip followed by the character. Now you can actually ask me, how about the spaces in between? How do we remove the spaces? Is there any way that we can actually remove this? Yes, there is way. Better ways, like now we can actually do it using regular expression, and also using join. There is a solution. We can actually use that. Join is another function. We can actually go to the example to understand it. So for now, this is how we can actually strip it. Let's say, for example, we do have let's say message equals to, I have like A, then B, then C, D, and then E. Now I want to strip all the A and D. My requirement is triple B, D is the output. Now in this case, what we can actually do? We can definitely do like print message to dot, let's say left strip actually L strip of A. I'll strip of A. If I'm running this program, here you can see all the A has been removed. Now in the same line, you can definitely use a strip of the combination. We can actually use a strip of E. Now the result will be B, So this is also possible. Like no need to specify I'll strip in one line, I'll strip in the other line. You can actually do. Let's say for example, if I'm running this and my requirement is also remove B, I can specify here, like again I'll strip of B. Okay, again I'll strip of B. In this case, what we are doing, we are actually stripping A from the left side, then stripping E from the right side, again stripping B from the left side. Okay, so now if I'm running this, you can actually see the output as actually CCDD. So anything is possible as long as you are actually familiar with all the string functions. Based on your requirement, you can deal with any kind of data. You can get whatever the requirement, like whatever is your requirement. Based on that, you can actually filter out the content. So this is how you can actually deal with lstrip, rstrip, lstrip and rstrip with like other characters. Like in this case, we did not actually use space. We have used like a plus sign, any alphabets or anything you want to actually use. You can actually do that. And then you are also familiar with like let's say for example, what is the difference between L strip, R strip, and strip? Okay, so this is how you can actually deal with the data. The guys who are actually going to deal with data engineering, but while normalizing the data or cleaning the data, you have to actually delete all the non-printable sequences which is actually present at the beginning or the last. You can actually do that. Now I'm just going to tell you the next function that is known as join. So now what is the example of join? We'll just go through the example and understand what is join method. Str python join, and here let's say for example I have, let's say, name equals to Subbu. Okay, now I'm just giving join operator. Now here I can specify, one moment, let's say here we go. Now print, here I'm just giving, let's say I'm just giving a space, dot join. Dot join of what? I'm just giving name. Dot join of space, then name. Let us see what will be the output here. Now here you can see that the space, it is actually iterating one character at a time. Guys, remember, it could be join can actually join any sequence. Okay, join can actually join any sequence. Let us go to the documentation. Here you can see concatenate any number of strings. Okay, that is join, followed by, you can actually specify all the values over here, dot join of anything, or you can actually directly use the variable name like this. That is also quite possible. Now let's say your requirement is, okay, I don't actually go ahead with the join of space, I want to actually have 3 times or 4 times plus sign. You can also do the join operator like this. You can actually do Subbu. In this case, it is actually join like this. Okay, let's say you want to actually join, let's say, 3 elements. Now names, I do have names. I have here Ganesh, your guess, and Dinesh. Okay, so now here I want to join all the elements in this given list. So what I can do, print, let's say I want to join them using a CSV, comma, here, then join, I can give names. Okay, now if I'm running this program, here you see the result is Ganesh, Yogesh, and Dinesh. So now if I'm just giving like here, like instead of comma, I want to give colon, 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 colon. Now here you can actually run the program. Here you can see Ganesh, Yogesh, and Dinesh. Let's say I have a tuple, same names. I'm having here names one, and instead of square bracket, the tuples are actually enclosed using round brackets. If I'm running this program with join.names, here you see names one, right? It is names one here. If I'm running this program, here you see it is also working as expected. So join, you can actually join strings, join string character from a given string, and then you can actually join any elements of the list and join elements of the tuple. There are various join operations we can actually do, but as a beginner this is sufficient to learn what join can actually do. Now going back to our previous example, right, we were having hello world over here, right? I want to actually give you one more example, like how we can actually did with join to remove spaces which are actually present in between two words. Let's say, for example, look at this. Now I have a Python file, and let's say I'm just giving str join example one. Okay, here we go. And my requirement is remove all the spaces, remove all the extra spaces which are present before hello, after world, and in between hello world there are actually multiple spaces. Let's say world is open source. I'm just giving like this. Okay, world is open source. Like there are multiple spaces here, multiple spaces after each word. My required output is required output. See, I have told you all the commands, like all the methods, but what I cannot actually transition to you guys is actually the logic. How do you solve the problem? Okay, so now look at here. My required output is this. Now, how do I do this? First thing what we can definitely do is I can definitely give like message dot strip message.strip. The moment message.strip is actually getting executed, what it is going to do, it is going to remove all the spaces before world and all the spaces after source. Now, if I'm running this program, it is actually giving me like world is open source. So how about the spaces here and how about the spaces here? Let us see like how to do this. The approach one should be regular expression. We can actually write a regular expression. So far you are not familiar. So we'll do it at a later point of time. The same example I'll do it using regular expression. But for now, we are familiar with the string methods. Let us do it using string methods. String methods are actually faster as compared to the regular expressions in this case specifically, not always. Now here I can say this is my message the strip, right? I can say like join, let's say join using space and dot join of what? Join is going to, in this case, okay, my message dot strip, okay, message dot strip is a list. Message dot strip is a list. Okay, now we are, instead of using a third variable, what we are doing is we are directly using with join. Now when we are actually using with join, let us see what it is going to do. We are telling it should actually join each element, okay, over here. Let's say for example, if I'm not executing the last one, let us say like what is the element here, okay, what is the output here, okay, message dot strip. Now control shift F10, if I do, here you can see it is giving world is open source, right? It is strip actually, sorry, it is not message dot strip, it is split. Print message dot split. Message dot split is actually going to, this is going to return a list basically, okay. So now it is not strip, it is list. It is not strip, it is split, okay. So now look at here, if I'm running this program, here you can see message dot strip is going to remove the spaces before and after of this particular string world is open source. Message dot split is returning as a list. It is taking care of the extra spaces, multiple spaces and all, it is taking care of that. What it is returning is, it is returning 4 words. World is open source. So now, if you want to join all the elements of a list, the syntax is print, then space. We can specify like any separator here, then dot join message dot split. If we do this, then the output is world is open source. Let us see now control shift F10. Here you can see world is open source. So the required output was like now world is open source. We did it like this. So if you want to actually assign it to any values, let's say for example processed string. Okay, so now here what we can do, let's say p string pstr equals to join up split, then this one, right? Now print pstr. Okay, it does the same thing. It does the same thing. Here you can see world is open source. Either you do it directly or you assign it to like multiple variables. That is also fine. You, let's say for example, it looks like pretty complex. Then in that case, what you can do, like I'm just giving like splitted message equals to, here I can give message dot split. This is a simplified version. Then here you can give pstr equals to join up what? Join up splitted message. Using what? Using a space. Now here you give the output here, right? A simplified version is like this. Okay, so now it is printing like world is open source. Now I'm just giving simplified version. But ideally, I'll suggest do not use any third variables because string functions we can use it on the fly. Okay, either you do this way or you do this way. Anything is fine. So this is how we can actually do join function. Now I'm just going to tell you another function that is known as replace. Replace. Now Python, new Python file like str of replace. Replace example. Now here we go. Let's say I this file and my requirement is I want to let me hello Rachel. I'm just typing it here. Hello Rachel and hello Tanmay. Or I'm just giving like now hello Tanmay. Okay. So now here we go. So now if my requirement is I want to replace all hello with hi. Then how I can do that? Like if I'm giving message, it is returning me the output as hello Subbu, hello Rajul, hello Tanmay, and it is all case sensitive. Now, if my requirement is all hello, all hello should be like replaced with hi. I can specify replace. Replace with what? Replace with, let's say for example, I'm just giving replace hello with hi. Okay, now look at here. If I'm executing this program, here you can see it is printing hi Subbu, hi Rajul, hello Tanmay, because in this case it is case sensitive. I've mentioned like replace is actually case sensitive. So in this case it is not going to convert the hello to hi. Now, if you want to actually ignore, sorry, convert the case of, let's say for example, I have like hello, here I'm just giving hello Devasis. Hello Devasis. Now if I'm running this program, here it is going to replace everything. It is replacing hi, hi, and hi here. Hello Tanmay, hello is not replaced. Now, if my requirement is like replace, here you can see the replace function documentation, what it says like count. It supports index actually, okay? We can specify counts. Let's say maximum number we can specify -1. -1 means everything you just replace it. Like if I'm giving -1, it does the same thing. Like what it is doing here, it does the same thing here. Let's say sometimes your requirement is you want to actually do certain occurrences. Now in that case, what you can do here is, you can see it here. It is actually only the first occurrence of hello has been replaced with hi. You can see it here, hello Rajul, hello Devasis, no change. If you want, like not two occurrences of hello should be replaced with hi, you can specify it here. Now here you can see hi Subbu, hi Rajul, but hello Devasis is here, it is not replaced. Now, your requirement is replace everything irrespective of any case. When I'm talking about like replace everything irrespective of any case, then in that case, what we can actually do, how to ignore the case? First, we need to do a message dot, let's say for example, I'm just converting everything to lowercase. Then replace of hello with hi, okay? Replace of hello with hi, and here you see the output. Here you see the output. Now here you can see hi Shubhu, hi Rijul, hi Tanmay, hi Devasis. Now your requirement is okay, that's fine. But what I want is like I want title case, because hi the name should actually start with like title case, or like title you can specify here. Now look at here, what is the output? Here it is printing hi Shubhu, hi Rijul, hi Tanmay, hi Devasis, and it is printing like this. Then you can say it's all fine, but I want it in multiple lines. I want it in multiple lines. Then how do I tell like print it in multiple lines? Probably we can actually try another replace. There are many ways we can actually do it. Another replace with dot. I'm just giving like now replace the dot with slash n. Now let us see what is going to work here. Okay, here you can see the output is hi Subbu, hi Rachel, hi Tanmay, hi Devasis. Then you are not happy, you are telling that's fine, but here what is happening is actually giving us spaces. Again, guys, strip L, strip R, strip is your solution. Okay, so now just give a new example here. Our requirement is not like replacing hello with hi, but we are actually getting familiar with replace. So even if you are actually going to search in Google, you cannot get the simplified version of replace. So at a later point of time, when you refer to the channel, right, you can actually definitely understand and get more knowledge on this replace. Just to correlate, I'm just giving an example. If you're familiar with like now Linux or Unix like operating system, ever used like SCD substitution or AWK GSUB global substitution. Whatever you do there, the same thing you can actually do it here. SCD and AWK, you can actually use files, input files. Here it is a string, and but yeah, we can definitely like apply it on file content to ensure familiar with the file operations. So this is all about like the replace. Then apart from this, we do have, I have already told you about two functions URD and CHR. Let's say, for example, if I'm giving print URD of A, here you can see we have already gone through this one. So this is a quick example. It is giving 65. If I am giving like print CHR of 65 or 66. Now it is going to print B. It's going to print B. It's a 65 here and B is here. Let's say whenever your requirement is like you are having content like this, and from ASCII you want to actually convert it to character, from character you want to actually convert it to ASCII values, you can definitely use like URD and CHR. So these are the string functions what we like now what I've learned so far. There are actually two more, that is like now ends with and starts with. Okay, so ends with and starts with, let us go through an example. Let me write a program here, the Python file, str ends with and ends and starts with. Okay, so now here we go. Let's say this is my program. I've just given like message equals to hello world. Hey Subbu. Okay. Now my requirement is I want to check if this string is actually starting with hello. I can definitely check if print. Here you see like now what we can do is we can definitely give message dot starts with, I can specify hello. Okay, so now it will return true or false boolean value. So in this case it is going to return true, but if I'm specifying starts with hello, and in this case it is actually going to return as false. All string methods are actually case sensitive in nature. So now the hello and hello, there is a big difference because this hello and this hello is not same programmatically. Now if I'm going to do like this, like if message dot starts with like he, then here I'm just giving print welcome Subbu. Now definitely it is going to work because it is starting with he. Now if I'm giving or specifying this one with hey, and in this case the else block is actually going to be executed. Now print Here I can say, hey guys. Okay. So now here you can see, in this case it is going to print welcome Subbu, and it is actually printed the second one, it is actually going to print hey guys. Now if I'm running this program, here you can see welcome Subbu and hey guys. Now if my requirement is I want to match for like this, if the sentence is starting with, or the string is starting with hello in any case, print hi world. Hello in any case, print hi world. You can definitely give like the message dot convert it to lowercase, uppercase, anything is fine. Then check with like as it starts with hello in any case. Hello in any case, then the message should be hi world. Now print hi world. Okay, so now in this case you can see we are using message.clear, then starts with hello, then we can actually use hi world. Now control set of 10, here you can see hi world. Okay, so now similarly we can also check like whether the message ends with Subbu. So the message ends with Subbu. What we can actually do there is we can definitely use ends with method. Okay, it's a copy pasted version here. So I'm just giving here like now here I'm just giving ends with instead of starts with. I have to give ends with ends with ends with what? Subbu. If it is ends with Subbu, welcome Subbu, and then message with ends with actually here ends with here I'm just giving Subbu. It is going to tell us like hey guys, because Subbu is capital case, S is capital case here. Okay, so now here the ends with is matching with the exact case, so we are going to get welcome Subbu. Here ends with Subbu is false, it is definitely going to give us like hey guys. Okay, just to differentiate I'm just putting like this. Okay, hey guys. Now if message dot lower dot ends with Subbu, or you can let's say while we are always, we can actually use upper to convert it to any case, then ends with, as I'm converting it to uppercase, I can definitely use Subbu here, and then I'm just giving here like hi world. Okay, so now here I'm just giving print, this is for a reference. Okay, we are done with strings. Okay, now let us run the program. Control Shift F10. Here you see it is actually printing hey Subbu, hey guys, hey world. We are done with strings. Everything is actually working absolutely fine. So starts with, ends with, and all these things are actually available. Guys, just reiterating message that the methods whatever I have covered, that is not the complete list. Here you can see upper, lower, start with, end with, title, replace, split, join, strip, L strip, R strip, right? And then here you can see there are many others too, like in a partition, Z fill. Okay, Z fill again we can actually do zero fill. Okay, I'll tell you one example. Index center is done, is space, count is lower, is space, everything. Basically, most of the format, and there are actually so many things. Ljust, adjust is there. So now you can actually to explore further on the string functions. My suggestion will be this much is actually enough for the time being, and like when it is needed, we can definitely go to the man page and then do it. Let's say, for example, I am having a string like this. Let's say CID, customer ID equals to 23456. Now I'm just giving like print zfill CID dot zfill. Why it is not working? Zero fill. Okay, I'll just let you know later. Like now, the zero fill basically what it does actually, it because it's a number, so that is the reason why z fill is not taking. We can definitely do it using a string. Now print zfill or cid dot zfill. Okay, and here I can specify 10. Now let us look at here. Now if I'm running this program, here you can see it is actually filling with the zeros. Okay, so if my number is just 2 characters, you can see it here. Here you can see like it is actually filling with all the zeros. Like, let's say for example, if I'm giving cnum equals to this one, it is error because the number should not start with zeros. So that's the reason it should be string. Now the question is, if my number is like this, then how do I get the integer equivalent? You can definitely use, what you can do here is, you can definitely use int of what? Int of cnum. What it is going to give is actually, if you are printing print enum, here you can see it is going to give the string as is, but wherein this one is actually going to give the integer equivalent, like control shift F10 if you do. Here you can see this is how it is going to work. Let me put it in the another program, like zfill, string zfill, new Python file, str zfill. Okay, so that's all about the string functions, and we are done for the day.